Happy Monday. If it's a Monday, that means I was in the zone this weekend. So I didn't go live this weekend, but I'm back for our weekly catch up. Today, we're going to talk about wellness practices. I'll give you a social media tip. I'm trying to think, what is my social media tip? We'll talk about the DMV Dermatology MPPA group's first in-person networking event, my first DMP student, the next conference that I'll be attending, provide an update on my business, and give you an idea for for a business that you can start as a nurse practitioner entrepreneur. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Dr. Kimberly Madison. I'm a doctorally prepared nurse practitioner, and I use the internet to share my journey as a live case study, as a blueprint, as a source of inspiration. I make these videos for students, aspiring nurses, aspiring nurse practitioners, people thinking of switching careers and want to know what it's like, and the people who support us. So our parents, mentors, counselors, neighbors, friends. If you happen to know a nurse or aspiring nurse and you think this content might be relevant for them, I invite you to share this link, and I thank you for doing so in advance. Let's get right into it. Let's talk about wellness practice. So one of the biggest challenges has been moving from working 3 days a week to 5 days and finding time to take care of myself. And so in the beginning, you're in orientation, so your schedule's all over the place and you have a really hard time trying to plan things because you don't always know when your day's going to end. So a few months went by. Once that kind of started to settle down, and I thought, okay, now I'm breathing a little bit. Maybe I can start to plan some doctor's appointments. Then we made some changes to our billing. So that required a lot more focus when it came to documenting and making sure I got everything right. Got that under my belt. Then they sent me people to like orient. That kind of slowed me down because I was still working on my own time management. I think I did that for like a month, maybe a month and a half. Then I went on a couple trips. And so things have finally started to slow down. So I've been able to see my dentist, and I just went and saw my eye doctor, and vision's the same. The only thing is she saw a little bit of cataracts. Apparently, cataracts is just a natural part of aging. There's not really a lot you can do to prevent it, but there are certainly things you can do to slow it down. And apparently, a lot of the damage is done by the time we're even 18, and particularly if you spend a lot of time outside, like I do and have always. And you don't wear your sunglasses, which I don't. I'm not really good about that. Always wear hats, sunscreen, all of that. Hi, Dad. But yeah, I don't wear sunglasses. I wasn't wearing my sunglasses, but I will be resuming. I actually have plenty of sunglasses, but I'm gonna be purchasing the Deion Sanders ones. I bought a couple of them already, um, and I really like them. So I'm gonna buy two of those, and I'm gonna be wearing them consistently. It was just a great visit with my eye doctor. I've been going to her for like 20 years now. Even when I lived other places, I would come home, I would just schedule appointments with her. So I've gotten to know her quite a bit, but only like kind of briefly. Like I knew she was married, I knew she had children, that kind of stuff. But now that I'm a provider, every time I see my doctors, I ask them other questions, like how they manage their life. And so I learned so much about her. One, she hasn't been to the doctor in decades, partly because her now late husband was an internist. So she kind of had an in-house doctor. Um, so she said she's terrible about that. And then she's decided to, instead of using her admin day where she goes into the office, she's going to just work from home and use that as a day to take care of herself. Anyway, it was just a really good conversation. It was good to hear that I'm not alone and struggling to find that kind of time. And it was good to connect with her on a different level. That's my wellness. I'm going to start to do guided meditation. So I also interviewed Dr. Nio Wills, who is a double board certified internal medicine doc and integrative medicine physician for the Melanin Initiative podcast. She came to talk to us about she did two episodes, both covering hormones, but the first one was for women, and then we also did one for men. Really excited about that. I don't know when that show's going to air because I need to look at the schedule. So that's my social media tip. So right now I've filmed so many videos that now I'm scheduling October is special because it's Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So I do have 2 interviews already booked for that month. So, but pretty much I have enough videos from now until September. And so that's great. That's exactly where you want to be. You want to be ahead of the game, create yourself a little bit of a buffer. Um, so her, she might be late. I think I figured out, I think I already have the August schedules sent to Angie, my VA. She's doing great, by the way. Um, I think August is completed and we're in September. So I'm not sure when her show is going to air. It's either September or November. I would hate to push it to November because we got this question when we first started this show, like a year ago. So probably squeeze her in either August or September. We'll see. Um, so yeah, so that's my social media tip is the batch content and the buffering and to be ahead. I like the 3 month. I think that's really nice. And it's really nice for the guests because they really want their show to come out like tomorrow. So sometimes kind of explaining like how that works. Now if somebody they want to promote something, then we work with that and when we put it out right away. So like this weekend I'll be talking to Tanja Johnson. She's the founder of Beautifully Unblemished, which is a vitiligo support group. So since it's the end of the month, I basically have to get her video out pretty much with the next day so that we can get it in June, which is Vitiligo Awareness Month. So like something like that will go out right away. Next month we have a doctor coming on who Dr. Ruby. She's Dr. Ruby. She wrote she's an ER doc and out in Milwaukee, and she wrote a book called Love Letter to Patients, inspired by her experience during COVID. And so her book is coming out next month. So we'll film, and her episode will come out in July to work alongside with all her marketing and promo. So stuff like that, we'll adjust the schedule, but for the most part, we're booking out. So that's my tip, is to try to be ahead. Come up with a calendar just like you would with your finances for the quarter, each quarter and annually, even weekly, monthly, quarterly, annually, and then just kind of go from there. Once you do that, you don't have to think about it. It's kind of like scrubs. You just know you're going to put them on and keep it moving, spend your energy on other things. That's my social media tip. Let's do the entrepreneur tip. So last week I said, I'm going to see how far I can go with each video coming on and providing a business tip, like a type of business you could start as a nurse entrepreneur. So I think I can't remember which one I said last week. Maybe it was the medical. No, that was like a different job in dermatology, I think. Or was it? I don't know. Last week we talked about the medical illustrator. And so because of that, I might give you just a really small glimpse. So I told you I was really inspired by Eunice to make my own cover for my book. And so I did play around a little bit. Let's see if I can show you this. Do you want to see this? I'll give you a little bit of a glimpse. These are some AI images. There's a couple that I kind of like, but there's 2 I really like. So I might keep playing with it. We'll see. And then once I was showing my family this, once I saw it all like that, I was like, well, maybe I should just do something like that. The thing about AI images, if you haven't tried making them, they've gotten, even in the last like 3 months, I think they've gotten way better. But sometimes, like if you look closely, like there's things that are abnormal. So they might have missing fingers or multiple fingers, or like a stethoscope might have extra pieces to it, like little details like that. And I don't know if it's because I know it and I'm looking for it, because when I show my mom them, she thinks they look great. But they have gotten a lot better. So like these, like I wanted like anatomy photos, and they're not like accurate for the anatomy, but I'm not sure if I care because it's a book cover and because I like to promote the use of AI. So I haven't quite made my mind up about that. And I do talk about AI quite a bit in the book, which is the how to get into dermatology for nurse practitioners. Made a lot of progress this weekend, which is why you didn't see me over the weekend. Did a bunch of writing for the blogs, and actually a new article came out today. To you, it's not going to be. The title is called Nurse Practitioner Entrepreneur Diary Series. I think that's what it's called. or Diary of a Nurse Practitioner Entrepreneur. So, which is the title of this whole series. I have a playlist of these videos that came out today on the blog. That's part one, where I just kind of recap my experience as an entrepreneur. Um, and then I give you a chronological, then the next one will be a chronological review of the last 2 years since I got my DMP. So look out for that. And then on Thursday, I have my review of the DC Black Pride event that I went to before June is up. I had to get that out. So yeah, I got a lot of writing done. So I was in the zone. I told you last week that I got my I think I was video recording when I got the invitation for my first peer review article. So I already did my first read. I'm gonna get that out this week, get that back to them. Yeah, that was really interesting article. They're actually a student right now. Well, actually, I think they just graduated, and so that's just a reminder to all you students out there, especially if you're in a doctorate program, to disseminate your research. And yes, I'm telling you to do as I say, not as I do. I did not do that with mine, but I'm trying to do it with all my students. And so it's a good thing to do. So speaking of students, if I was a student and I was doing a DMP project right now, and I knew I was in love with derm, I had an idea that I wanted to do. Now, when I went to the Nueki Wellness and Beauty event last week, Eunice gave me a wonderful idea. It wouldn't be so great for a student doctoral project, but it's going to be great for a second article. Because I already have the topic for my first article for the Journal of Dermatology Nurses Association. And I think I can start working on that next month. I had an idea for the DMP project I wanted to share with you all. But now I can't remember what it was. I can't remember. Oh, man. Something I was listening to today, too. Well, some of my favorite, I don't know. I can't remember. I'll have to write it down and tell you next week. But speaking of students, I have officially became a mentor for my first DMP student, and the reason I was even asked was because his project is using AI in dermatology. And so really excited to just support him and learn about all the latest evidence and just to carry out a project and see where it goes. I'm really excited to also just share with him what I've learned in the last couple of years and to see how someone takes that information and just kind of runs with it to see what he's able to do. And so just really happy to have this opportunity. Speaking of opportunities, this week is the DMV Dermatology MPPA Group's first in-person event. If you don't know, that is a networking group for NPs and PAs right here practicing in DC, Maryland, and Virginia in medical, surgical, or cosmetic dermatology. We're having our first in-person event this Thursday, July 27th at 7 p.m. Eastern, sponsored by Arcutis. These first couple meetings, so it will be this month and probably September will be the next one after all the vacations are over, is to just kind of decide get to know each other and see how what we want to do with the group. And so some ideas that we've been given, hi mother, is we can do grand rounds. We can focus on disease, like a particular disease, a particular medication, and of course that networking, that professional and personal development. How do you make time for yourself? How do you ask for PTO? How do you ask for admin days? How do you use that time? There's tons of questions people ask every day about the different EMRs, and certainly there's apps. And in writing this book, man, there's a lot that's been coming out. I feel like when I was writing that book, that's when I thought about the idea I'm still trying to remember what idea I had for the DMP project. Oh, I think it has something to do with an app. It'll come back to me. Yeah, I can't remember anymore. So yeah, and I can't remember what I was talking about either. So we have so for the group. So yeah, just an opportunity just to like support you as an NP or a PA outside of clinic, because as I think I have said quite a lot this year, is that the clinical setting is all about the patient, and so you as a provider, you still have questions, you have concerns. Um, and the clinic really isn't a really good time for that all the time, because you have competing responsibilities that have to do with the patient. And then at the end of the day, everybody wants to go home, including yourself. And so you need a time, a space, and a group of people who can support those questions, those curiosities, your best interests. Um, yeah, and so that's what we're here for. We're here to do that for you, and I hope that you join us, and that we're able to help you reach whatever goals you have, and maybe even broaden those goals and introduce you to some things that you never thought about in terms of how you can disseminate your knowledge and how you can advance your career, and even explore different areas of healthcare that can bring in more fulfillment, reduce burnout, and keep you in the game a lot longer. So that's this weekend. In order to RSVP, you have to be accepted into the group first. That link is in the description box. Once we verify your medical license, you'll be allowed in, and then you can RSVP. If you don't meet any of that criteria, but you still want to either participate, sponsor, or partner with us, or get access to our group, just contact me directly. So I'm going to the Elevate Drum Conference next month in Boston. It's July 25th to the 28th, in Back Bay. And so that's gonna be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it because I won't be working, I'll just be learning. So I'm excited about that. It'll be my fourth Durham conference, and I love going to Boston. I'm looking really forward to going in the summer. Boston has some of the best summer weather. It doesn't last long, but if you can catch it, it's beautiful. And I'm really so they have this is their inaugural conference. This is their considered their East conference, and they're going to have a West conference. And my favorite place, Scottsdale, in November. But I just don't think that's a good time of year for me to travel. And so this particular trip is great. The location's great for me. One, because it's pretty close. It's kind of a business trip. I want to recruit people for the D&B Derm group, right? I figure people who live in this area would likely be attracted to that location. So that's a strategic decision on my part, is to grow the group to get the education without also working. And most importantly is to hear from Dr. Susan Taylor, who's going to be one of the speakers on, I think she's speaking on CCCA. So if there's even a chance I can meet her, that would be wonderful. But just to hear her lecture in person and get those pearls, just really excited about that. And then I'll just have to find another excuse to go to Arizona. Probably not this year unless something happens that I'm not aware of. And then I told you last week that I wanted to make the website for my Telederm practice live. So it's actually live right now. But I think I want to, well, you can, if you message me in the comments, if I get enough messages in the comments, I'll come and add the link. Otherwise, next weekend when I come and film, I'll make it alive then. I think I want to just look over it and see if there's anything I want to tweak before I send you all over there to check it out. And so the main reason I'm sharing it now, because I'm thinking that I probably won't open for business until about January. So it gives me about 6 months to get everything in order. But that'll also give you all time to just follow the process. Maybe you've never built a website, you're just not sure the process. And so you can go over there and see like how it starts, which is usually a page that looks already like it's completed. And you go in, or your designer, whoever's helping you, they change the color template, they change the text, you change your pictures. And so, yeah, to just be able to watch that process. So the homepage is up, you can like see that. And then I asked him to add some drop down boxes in a few areas. And then the contact page needs to be updated so people can automatically go put a message on that page and it goes directly to me, which is how the blog is. So I asked him to do those changes. And I think there's like two other tabs up there that are the like the original template that we haven't designed yet. And so I just need to go kind of figure that out. But I want to keep that website as simple as possible. I think I'm not quite sure the EMR I'm going to go with. I'm thinking about going with the Jane app. That's probably my number one. I still want to look again one more time before I finalize it because I really want people to be able to send in pictures. And from what I understand from people who already use it, they don't have that functionality. Although they've been getting that request, and so they said they were working on it like 6 months ago. I think last time I talked to them. So maybe by the time I actually get ready to upload it and like subscribe to their plan, it might be ready, and then they could stay my number one option. Otherwise, I'm going to try to get some of these grants out here for these businesses and see if I can use all that money to support the business instead of coming out my pocket. So the 6 months will give me enough time to do all that. You don't need 6 months to do all that, but I'm setting realistic goals based on all the things I have going on and the things that are going to happen this year. So yeah, next weekend we'll talk about the website. It'll be live, and then you can go on over there, check it out, and follow that process. Oh, did I give you an idea for a business yet? No. So the idea for the business today will be online videos. So let's say you do want to get into derm, um, and maybe you're a new MP or you're transitioning from a different specialty. Instead of giving that up completely, and say instead of starting like a derm business, for instance, take one of the skills that you loved. Maybe you were excellent at IVs or so many things. Let's say you're excellent at IVs. You can do a whole IV business because you know that it's not anything new you have to acquire. So all you have to do is the business part of it. Because when you have to do a new skill, a new specialty, and the business, and be a new provider, that can be tough, right? And so what I really do, if you're new to my platform, is I really share the new NP, new entrepreneur experience. And so a lot of MPs who have their business have already been MPs for a long time. But since the pandemic, there's been a lot of new MPs or people who were students who got inspired during the pandemic to get into entrepreneurship. And so it's that whole question, just like when you start when you're a new nurse, and it's like, that whole debate about whether you should start in med surg or the ICU. I feel like it's the same in the entrepreneurial realm. Is it's like, can you start a business as a new NP or should you get experience? And I've listened to quite a few interviews where that the question has come up, and pretty much if they're talking to an entrepreneur, they're like, yeah, go for it, right? Don't overcomplicate it, particularly if it's something you already know. But when it's like if it's like in a chat, pretty much all the people who have like 20 years in the game, they always say, "Oh, you should get some experience under your belt." And I would agree with them just because of how much it kind of depends on what you have in your life, to be honest, and how motivated you are, how much support you have, and how many things you're managing. Um, and so it can be done, especially if you're really focused and you get like the proper education and training and you have like people you can call and ask questions and get support. Then I think it can totally be doable. Will it be a lot? Yes. Will require a lot of time management and structure and strategy and giving yourself grace. Absolutely. And whatever plan you start with is likely not the plan you're going to follow, but at least you're out there, you're getting started. And it's just like investing. You can ask a lot of questions, you can look at a lot of charts, but until you actually start doing it yourself, it's not going to really make sense. And so that is my update for the week. Whenever I do these, I think, I don't know what I'm going to talk about. And then I think about all the stuff I did, and it's like, ooh, now I need to actually edit. So today we talked about wellness. I'm going to start doing my guided meditation. Oh, one thing I didn't mention was Dr. Nayo. The reason it kind of caught my attention for two. One is because my mind's always going, so it's going to be a way to help stay focused. But she mentioned like the cognitive benefits. I feel like she even said had something to do with like a hormone too. Um, that guided meditation does. It either boost that hormone, or I feel like it helps boost that hormone or stimulate its growth, something to that effect. Whatever she said, that's what inspired me to say, okay, I'm going to do that. So that's what I'll be doing. The 75 hard challenge is over. I mentioned that 75 days ago. Alfred Street Baptist Church did the 75-day challenge where you had to, it was like a soft version, a hard version, dealing with how many times you exercise, whether or not you could eat sweets, how much water you drank, reading scripture. I feel like there was something else. Um, I did good on the no dessert, except that week I went on vacation. I had a slice of cake and I had some chocolate. But outside of that, the whole other 75 days, I didn't have my regular desserts. So I had some donuts this weekend. That's my favorite thing. But I did have sweet things. So if you're going to do something like that, I guess you have to be really specific about, when you say no dessert, is it like cookies and cakes or is it anything sweet? Because you had a lot of fruit, I eat a lot of raw desserts. And so, those are technically sweet and they're desserts, but they're fruit. So, but for me, I would say that part was pretty successful. I'd probably give myself a C on the gallon of water in terms of hitting a gallon every day, but I definitely drank more water than I was, and I'm going to keep doing that. I actually really like that a lot. And then, yeah, still running, lifting. My legs feel great. My knees feel great. And yeah, those are some new sneakers. They're about a month old. And what I'm not doing great is the stretching. I'm still not really good about doing that. My schedule is going to change again in the next month. So that should allow at least a day of yoga. That's what I want to get on that's the next thing I need to add. And then I was supposed to have a visit with my primary care doctor this Friday, but then she had to cancel. So now I have to go back in the calendar and pick a new date. And I can do that this week. So that's my wellness. Diet's been great. I don't have any issue with that. I need to get more sleep though. So those are at the top of the list, and I'm gonna do the sunglasses. And I think I'm supposed to see my Leah Waller, my derm PA. I think we stretched this appointment out because it's been more than 6 weeks. I think I'll see her in July. I've been wondering, did I miss it or did we not schedule it? Yeah, so next month I'll just go back for my visit with her. I've been really happy with my skin. And I even, oh, you know what? I have a new vitamin C. I'll bring that out next month, next weekend, because I've been really happy with that. Certainly go over to the blog and check out the latest article. There'll be 2 out this week for your viewing pleasure. Yeah, I gave you social media tip. I gave you entrepreneurial idea, updates on how we can connect in real life, opportunities for you to get education. I want to do some updates on the Dermatology Nurses Association because I was perusing that website over the weekend. And I saw some things that I forgot. I purchased their scope and standards. I don't remember seeing it because you're supposed to get a digital copy. And I got a receipt receipt confirmation of purchase, but I don't remember seeing the actual file. I don't know if I have to go back into my, like on the website. So we'll talk about that next week. And their certification, which I have my eye on. So yeah, I think that's all we have. We're at 28 minutes. That's great. Gonna try to stick with that. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock. Gonna do some work on the computer. And then, yeah, try to go to bed at a decent time. Thank you so much for watching. Please share my content with students, nurses, and aspiring nurse practitioners, especially those that are interested in practicing derm. I have the link to my bio in the description box, as well as the virtual preceptor shop, which is an online collection of digital resources to support you. And soon in the description box will be a link to my first hard copy book, How to Get into Dermatology for Nurse Practitioners. Yeah, and I'll tell you about next week. We can talk about my peer review experience, what that was like in terms of tips that I might pick up when I finish this first review. So by the way, if you're watching this, and I need to do the DMPs of color update too. I saw that if you're a member of the DNA Nurses Association, check your email because they're looking for new board members. My plate's full, so I'm not going to accept it. And plus I want to spend my time writing for the journal. But yeah, if you're interested and you're not a member, then I don't think you would be a candidate because I think you have to be a member for 2 years. But if you are and you're interested and you have time, go check them out and tell them I sent you. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you have a wonderful week. If you have any questions, you can certainly leave them in the comments or you can message me directly. I thank you so much for watching and I'll see you next time. Thanks, Mom, Dad. Thanks for watching. Have a good night.